Right, so here we are in a brand new world. It's flat, it's set to always day, there's no weather. Mobs have been turned off a while to keep it nice and clear because we're going to look at the coding. So before we begin, we need to load up the coding window, and we do that by pressing C on the keyboard. So we're going to load the coding window, we're just going to press C, and that brings up our choice of editors. Now we've got three. We've got the make code that lets us code Minecraft with blocks, Python or JavaScript where we can switch between. We can learn to code in Python using the notebook interface, and we can also look at Tinker as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to begin today. We're going to look at the Microsoft Make Code coding interface. So we'll click on the puzzle piece to load that. Right, so our coding interface is loaded. This can take a few seconds, but you can see I've got a number of options that are available here and various things to look at. Bit of news across the top, where to start, so some little hints to go through. Any projects you've done are available here, and you can also import a project or start a brand new project from scratch. And then we've got a selection of tutorials. Now, you can scroll through them. We've got some options before we go on. We've got these three lines. We can flip the window, so we can change the size of the side of the screen. We can make it larger. And we can reset it, which I don't want to do. And then we can change it back to one of the other versions as well. So I'm just going to shrink it back down for now. But as you can see, I can click on the three lines, get rid of it. You've got a little cog up here for just changing modes and resetting the whole thing. That's with the details. But these will be my projects, and you can see I've worked through some tutorials. You can see these through the sort of steps completed. The green ones have been completed, the other ones not quite. And you've got some starter tutorials, so mobs, how to make it rain chickens, zombie pig, a range of others. Ones do making superpowers. And then we start to get our ones for actually controlling the agent, your little coding assistant who can do things for you. We've got positions, and this is where we're going to deal with relative positions or world positions. Some other building ones on how to build stairs or billboards, wall. Some other overworld tutorials. Some tutorials are extensions, and just like with the Microbit or Arcade, extensions are additional blocks and elements you can add in. So one, for instance, will let you build a castle. Some ones with mobs and agents again. And there's a range of tutorials. And there's some coding videos that you can watch as well. So they're built in. So that's our interface, and that's what we're presented with. Now here we're going to load a tutorial now just to see what we've got to look at in terms of the key points to go through. So I'm going to select Zombie Pig here. And we're going to select blocks because that's what we're looking at. You can also do Python and JavaScript for the same result, but these are textual, and we're going to look at the blocks here. Click on it, starting tutorial, brief description of what it's about, some sort of image. We have the immersive reader button here that we'll see throughout, and we'll always draw attention to that, which will allow you to modify the text to make it easy to read, or you could have it read to you. It allows you to translate instructions as well. And we click OK to carry on. Throughout all of the tutorials, you'll notice the same things. Your toolbox is limited, so you don't see everything. All we have is the blocks that we're going to need through the tutorial. We get some instructions at the top, and we can see the number of steps. We've got the immersive reader button here. Elements within the tutorials are color-coded to show which menu they come from, and actually, if you click on them, it will open that menu for you as well. And we've also got our hint here where we can click on that, and we get some additional information such as the block that we needed to use. So here we've got the on-item event block. I work through, and we would go through, and we would start to add these in, following the instructions, following it step by step. So I've completed the tutorial. I'm not going to show you all the steps, but this is the finished code. So on an item being used, which in this case is an iron shovel, spawn a pig 5 blocks away, and then hit it with a lightning bolt. So I click play. My code is now running, but obviously nothing's happening. So I'm just going to walk away a little bit. I'm going to bring up, not the coding window, I'm going to bring up my inventory, and I'm going to look for an iron shovel. So I'm going to get that. I'm going to put it on my hotbar, and I'm going to use it. And you can see 5 blocks away to my left, which is how it works out, a pig appears, and that's relative. So they're unfortunately burning out a little bit too quickly, but every time I move, it's always 5 blocks to my left. And you can see by the marks how that goes up. But that's what the result of that tutorial. And assuming these pigs actually don't burn, they would turn into the zombie ones as the tutorial suggests. Right, so now we're just going to have a look at the full coding interface. So I've finished this tutorial. I'll click done. And it's opening the whole thing, but rather than looking at it here, I'm just going to click home and I'm going to go new project. Because this is when it started from scratch or from the beginning. So give it a new name. So first project. Click create. Then it loads an empty workspace with all the menus. So I'm going to make this larger so we can see it more. So we can see we can change between Java and Python here. Textual, back to the main screen, share it, help, settings, which also includes our ability to save or delete it, or to load in custom extensions that you may well in the future create yourself. But we have all of our options down the side here. We've got basic, which is where we'll find some key ones we might need to use, placing blocks, commands, on action, spawning, a few basic ones to do with the agent as well. Then more specific commands to do with the player, such as teleporting, saying things. Blocks. And we've got mobs, so spawning them, applying effects to mobs. Doesn't have to be the player, could be a specific mob. Enchantments. Look at how things are going to be selected. Specific commands for the agent. Gameplay commands such as changing the time of day. Positioning, because there are various ways we can position. We've got relative, or to the right, above, in front, or we can use world position with the coordinates. Our loops for iterations for making bits repeat, either on by count or condition controlled. Logic for building up selection, so if something happens, do this. And we've got all our Boolean and comparison elements down here. We can create our variables that we might need to use to store things in. If you're ever working anything out to do with building, you can use the coordinates. Under advanced, we can create functions, arrays, some more particular things to do with handling of text. Builder works a bit like the agent for actually building structures. And we can also generate shapes as well. And then we have the extensions, which allow us to add in some various things. So for making music, there's a roller coaster one to do with space and building planets, castles, mob events, and obviously some pixel art as well. So we've got a whole range of things within it. And over time, we will work through and we will look at all of these. So that's our basic overview. And in the next set of videos, we'll come back and we'll look at actually how to start utilizing these blocks in our programs and actually controlling and manipulating the Minecraft world through code.